doing a show.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Frank.
We watched another interesting film over the weekend, The Long Walk. Francis Lawrence is the director. And unbeknownst to me, he actually directed a few of the Hunger Games as well.
Oh shit, I didn't even
Which,
know that, dude.
yeah, which in a way,
I really should have did some of my research, bro.
maybe a little bit. But
Yeah.
this was a film that was based on the Stephen King novel. It was a 1979 Stephen King novel. Of course, anyone that's even vaguely familiar with King is going to know that he, wrote in the horror genre, right? And so I would characterize this film as being a thriller, a psychological thriller, something of that nature. This is
Yeah.
like it's a post-war dystopian movie. Is that would you say that's a fair way to characterize it? Post-war dystopia?
Yeah, but you know what's interesting about it though? Like you really don't know about the dystopian part until like sort of not later on in the film, but kind of in the middle of the film. Did
Yeah.
you get that? Did you get that same kind of feeling or no?
Well, I mean, I think from the beginning, it's very clear that all of the participants are, and this is alluded to later in the movie, are not really presented with a choice, right? Because
Yeah.
the economic situation post-war is so desperate that it's like, what else do you do? They say that it is a choice in that opting into this thing is voluntary, right? Like you're not forced to sign up for this long walk, but everyone they knew signed up for the walk, right?
Yeah.
So in a way, it's kind of like life is so bad in the world that Stephen King kind of paints here that it makes no sense to continue living it without at least trying to improve your situation.
Well, my impression of it was more like it was a poverty-stricken country
Yeah,
rather than
exactly.
this like dystopian kind of like under martial law kind of nation. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that aspect of it until like the middle of the oh, by the way, are we doing spoilers or no?
We'll do some spoilers. I think we
We'll
have to.
do we'll do a little bit of spoilers.
I
We
don't
don't
see
have to
how we
like
do this without spoilers.
yeah. I mean, we can talk about I mean, we don't have to like completely give away like certain characters, but we could talk about like the
Yeah,
dynamic between characters and shit. Like
absolutely.
I don't think that that's a spoiler, to be
No,
honest with you.
and I'll give you one spoiler right off the bat. Someone spoils their pants. So let's start
That's not even a spoiler though. That's like so like not even significant in the
I
film.
thought it was significant and that it was really disturbing to watch on a big screen. But okay,
I thought it was
let's just
hysterical.
kind of break down the film for a second.
Yeah.
Big picture. So this is a desperate post-war society, and as you said, it's poverty-stricken. But I would also say it's like morale-stricken, right? None of the country is patriotic or is excited about living in America. It's like this kind of desperate situation, right?
Yeah.
And so these kids, there's 50 kids. And by kids, I mean, what would you say the age range is here? Like maybe
Well,
18 to
they were like military age. It was like probably from like 18 to 22 or something
18 to
like that.
22, we'll say. So 50
Yeah.
kids, and, each one of them is representing a different state. And so, they're dropped off at this, what would you call it? Like, where they're all
Well,
congregated and
it's just like a desolate drop off point pretty much,
this
There was
desolate
like
drop off point.
no destination. It's just literally as far as you could walk and
Right.
whoever's the last one standing wins pretty much. But
Yes.
what's interesting about the whole thing is like it just starts off that way. You don't know the stakes behind it yet until you just
Right.
see the first person get fucking popped. You know?
Well, and we should keep in mind that, okay, so first of all, there's no finish line. So this is a seemingly perpetual walk. And also, this is important too. You can't just go at your own pace, right?
Oh yeah,
You
it was like what, 3 miles an
three
hour? Three
miles an
miles an hour
hour,
was the
and
pace.
everyone
Yeah.
has like um a wrist, a bracelet monitor that shows you
Like
how
the
fast
like
you're walking.
how many miles, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yo, what I thought was interesting behind it, and I think we were having this discussion yesterday about it,
Hmm.
was the whole like sort of Lord of the Flies Hobbesian thing. You
It's very
know,
Hobbesian.
I really, you think so? I didn't think it was. I think it could have been more Hobbesian. You know, because I think in that situation, that's how that's how those people would be. I don't think it would be like I personally don't think it would be like a lot of friends dynamic. I think it would be more of a
Yeah.
competitive atmosphere. There were a couple of characters that would like that, but I feel like almost everybody would be that way. You know, and I certainly don't believe that the people who would like stick together would win, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, that's personally what I thought of it, like my
Well,
personal opinion.
the Hobbesian element is like obviously Hobbes writes about the state of nature and that in the state of nature it's this war of all against all, right? And so
Yeah,
it's very like it's Darwinian, right? But
it
but
is.
but my response to that, like, and this is the conversation that you and I were having, is that people are social creatures, right? And so even in this situation where it is rational to pursue your own self-interest, right? Because only one person gets out of this thing alive, right?
Yeah,
At the same time, there's something hardwired in us to forge relationships, even if we know that they're not going to last long. I
mm.
mean, do you don't concede that point?
Well, I would argue that at first going into it, there would probably be a lot of like competitive energy, you
Yeah.
know. But then towards the end, they would be so, I guess, just gassed out and stricken with grief or whatever that they'll long for a friendship, sort of like that one character. Remember the blonde-haired kid that was sort of like cutthroat in the beginning.
Yeah.
Towards the end, he was, I mean, I'm not going to really give it away, but he was sort of like longing for friendships, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because so many people were just dying around him that it's like, I I guess he sort of had that way of thinking like, man, I should really like stick with somebody before I get popped, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's sort of what I
Well,
got
I,
out
I
of it,
just
you
think
know?
I think it's just a natural thing to do. I mean, think about it. Like you're dropped off at this site, this, like you said, this desolate site. You really, there's no way to actually prepare yourself for what you're about to get into. And
Yeah.
so the second that Ray Garrity, who's the main, protagonist here, the second he's dropped off, I don't know if you noticed this, he immediately like I was thinking, is he going to be introverted? Is this like a shy kid? He immediately is like, I need to befriend someone here, because
Yeah.
think about it. You're placed in this scary, unfamiliar environment. The natural response is to be like, I need a buddy, even if that buddy's going to get popped. Like,
Mm.
I need a buddy and which is why they start the Musketeers.
Well, I think what would have been a little more realistic about it would be because there was one character that just kept to himself the entire time.
Yeah.
Me personally, I feel like I would have been that way. Like,
Are
why
you
am I
talking
going
about
to
Are you
forge
talking about the killer?
the killer? What are you talking
They
about?
were calling him the killer. What was his name?
No, not that kid. No, no,
Barkovich.
no. No, no, no. No, you're talking about the kid with the long blonde hair. I'm talking about
Yeah.
the other blonde haired kid. He was like the last,
Oh, he was
like,
the
without,
son. He was the
yeah,
bastard child.
yeah. I thought weren't really going to do any spoilers, but
It's gonna
I
happen.
guess,
I'm just getting it out of the way now. We're gonna spoil.
yeah. But I think that's how most people would be, at least at first going into it. That's how most people would be. They would just be like him, kind of keeping to themselves, like not really trying to forge friendships. Because what happens if you forge a friendship with somebody and then they end up getting shot? You know what I mean?
But they knew
It-
that going into it,
but
though.
but at the end of the day, it's a competitive thing. You know what I
It
mean?
is.
So, I mean, I mean, I could argue that maybe some people would forge like fake friendships just to like get them ahead, you know, or
That's
just to pass the time,
that's like
you know.
sociopathic, though, to to force a
Yeah, but
relate like a
yeah, but
fake friendship.
at the end of the day, you want to be the one to win, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're forging a real concrete friendship with someone, how are you going to win? You know,
No, no.
unless
Look, I think
oh,
that it's rational and it's irrational. Because like I said, it's a rational human response to to forge a relationship with someone. Like social connection is a human instinct. But then at the same time, it's irrational because like we said, only one person gets out of this alive. But I know that if I was in the situation where, you know, there's no bathroom, right? You can't even stop to tie your shoe. I mean, stopping to tie your shoe is a major risk
that's
in
like a
this
risk.
movie.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like a major risk. And
But then
so,
again, it was also like, didn't one of the kids say like, "Oh, like it's my strategy," you know, like I'm resting for 30
yeah, which was
seconds.
clearly bullshit, though. There's no strategy there. But
Yeah.
but you're gonna tell
What
me
the
that,
hell's a 30-second rest? A 30-second rest is nothing. Like,
yeah, yeah, but you're gonna
unless
tell
you
me that
keep taking 30-second rests throughout the time, you know,
if you,
maybe,
well,
I don't know.
remember too that this is, so they get warnings for violating the rules, right? But then every 3 hours, I believe, the warnings go back to zero, and it's like you're reset.
Yeah.
I believe that was the
Oh, that's
case.
what it was. Yeah, I think that's what
Yeah.
it was.
But
Yeah.
if I could tell you, I don't know how you would act in this situation, although I'm getting a feel for it now that you would be very Hobbesian about
What?
it. But
Yo,
yeah,
I can't hear you, bro.
you can't hear me? Hello?
Yeah, yeah. What
You hear me
happened
now?
there? Yeah, I
Okay,
hear you. What
we'll
happened?
edit that out. I have no idea. But
All right.
what I was going to say is that if I was in this situation, I would immediately try to make friends. Because
Yeah.
this is too terrifying. I mean, you look at the road, you look at like the dead, diseased animals on the road. You're gonna go that alone?
Well, I mean, I would probably just like shoot the shit with people just to like pass the time by, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like,
Hmm.
I don't know if I would really form like a real concrete friendship because if someone dies, not only are you competing against them, but if somebody dies, it's just that much more traumatic to you. That
Yeah.
because you befriended that person
Hmm.
and you got to know that person and you realize that that person probably didn't deserve to die. So now you're sitting there traumatized pretty much because you just seen this person who you actually befriended got shot, you know?
Yeah. Well,
So
but that's like I said to you last night, where it's like a Shakespearean thing of it's better to have loved and lost than to have never have loved at all. Right? And think about it. They're not walking 10 miles, they're walking 300 miles. So that's another thing that I want to get into is
yeah, that's bullshit, dude. There's no
this was
way
really
that thing would have
far-fetched.
lasted 300 miles, dude. There's no
Yeah.
fucking way, bro.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
way.
This was really far-fetched. I mean,
And
how
this is from someone who walks 30,000 steps a day at
what's 30,000
work.
steps? What's 30,000 steps in miles, you think?
Oh,
We need
I've
Jamie
looked
to
at
pull
it.
this up.
I've looked at it on my phone before. It was like I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was like 12 miles or something like that.
So what, in your estimate, like how long, if this were to be a thing, how long would they go realistically? There's no way they
Well,
would go
I can
300
tell
plus
you
miles.
I can tell you from personal experience after walking 30,000 steps, which I presume is about 12 miles, my feet got fucking blisters all over them. You know,
12, which,
and
yeah. Hmm.
like my feet are aching, like I go home and I just don't do shit for the rest of the time, you know. So I can't
Yeah.
imagine unless I mean unless you know, the thought of you not surviving if you walk maybe boosts like a bit more adrenaline,
Well,
maybe.
that's the thing though,
I don't
because
know.
I think even one of the characters in the movie said like, haven't you heard about these mothers that lift cars off their babies or whatever. And like the reason that a woman or that a mom could lift a car is because there's adrenaline going through her system, which I guess is the same rationale here as to why these kids could. But then the whole like they're taking turns going to sleep. There's I
Yeah, how the fuck? Like, how do you
Not possible.
sleep walking? I mean, I guess you could like sleepwalk or whatever, but like,
That's a different
how
thing.
do you like if you're yeah, like if you're sleepwalking, wouldn't you just like uh go off in different directions? Like, why would you be going in the same, in the same direction that you're going?
I
You
will
know?
say that as a someone who takes the train a lot, I have not quite, but I've almost mastered the art of going to sleep standing up.
Yeah, but that's different, dude. Going to sleep standing
Yeah.
up and going to sleep walking. How are you
While hanging on a
walking?
pole like that.
But how are you walking in the same direction? If you're sleepwalking, like I've seen people sleepwalk before and they
Hmm.
don't know what the hell is going on. Like they'll go in a different
No.
room,
Yeah.
they'll go in the fridge for no reason, you know what I mean? There's no way
Kind of
they would
awesome.
be there's no way they would be just walking in the same direction like that,
Well,
you know?
but what about this? What if like if you're walking over 100 miles, which again, probably not possible. But if you're walking over 100 miles at the same speed, whatever it is, 3.4 miles an hour, this like left, right, after 100 miles becomes so mechanical that
Oh,
it's
it's like
almost like your system has just gone into autopilot.
yeah, it's like yeah, you're doing it like yeah, you're just kind of like not realizing you're doing it, you know?
So maybe it is possible.
Maybe. I don't know. We
I
would
guess
have
we have to
to
try it.
look up some kind of neuropsychological like research or something. Not neuro like I don't even know what you would even
Well,
call
why don't we just,
that.
what are you doing tomorrow? We'll just try it.
What?
Yeah, you and I will walk for a really long time, and then we'll go
Bro,
on
I
Third
walk a
Avenue.
long time at work like as it is. There's no
Well,
way.
next time you
There's
do
no
that,
way I'm
try
coming home
dozing
from work
off.
and I'm walking with you, bro. It's not happening. It's not.
I want to talk about a criticism that I read, and I want to get your response to it.
Damn, you're
So,
making me feel like a noob, bro. Like I did like zero
well,
research
no,
on
it's
this.
it's even better when you've done no research because then you're just going into it. All right. So
Yeah.
in The Jacobin, Eileen Jones says that the movie misses the narrative complexities. So in other words, with these 15 kids, right? We'll say with the four kids, right? Because those are the Musketeers. They, other than Garrity, the main guy, they don't really go into their stories or the reasons why they signed up for this thing in the first place, right? They just kind of skip over all of their individual stories. And
Well, yeah, well
instead,
they talk about it. They talk about it instead.
but not even much though. They kind of vaguely talk about it, but they could have what she says in this review is that they could have done individual flashbacks, you know?
Nah, I don't think because if they would have did that, that would I don't know. I feel like the no um the sort of like mystery behind all those characters is like interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're getting to know life from their point of view,
Right.
you know? Whereas if you if you see like a flashback of their life, then it's like you automatically know who they are. Like I think that's the whole
Yeah.
point of the movie, pretty much, is to like um I guess it's sort of like a social experiment, like
Hmm.
how it would be if people were in that situation. And I think that would sort of take away from that if you were to show everybody's backstory, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess you're learning their stories just on this walk, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
guess that's the whole point. You would almost be
You're
giving it
learning their
away.
point of view, you're learning
Yeah.
their sort of philosophy on life, you know?
Now, as
I feel like showing their backstory would completely take away from that, you know?
yeah, no, I do kind of agree with that. Although I think that Garrity's backstory was necessary for the plot. Like, there's no way they could have done without his backstory.
Well, just that one scene. I'm not really gonna give it away.
You're talking
just
about
that
with his
one
dad.
scene. Yeah, with his dad. Just that one scene they had to show. I feel like that was necessary to show.
But you
You know,
didn't feel like
honestly,
there was some.
even
Yeah.
that they could have maybe did without. I feel like,
I
you know,
don't know, man.
he could have just said something about like what happened to his father, and that would have been it. You know?
You don't think there was something missing though? Because I feel like, having a glimpse of Garrity's, like, his relationship with his mom was actually like really important. But
No, that was definitely important. Yeah.
yeah, but what about the other Hank Hank, I can't remember his last
Dude, I
name.
honestly don't even remember any of their
But they were
names,
like,
bro.
"Oh, he had a wife. Like, he was the only one with a wife."
Was that the
Or
Asian kid?
it was the Asian kid. He
The
like,
Asian kid, yeah.
and it's like, I don't know, would it have been a better movie if we had some more backstory on all the, like, in the same way that Garrity had a backstory? Like,
Well, I actually like the fact that they didn't bring up the fact that he didn't have a wife until the end
till he died.
because you sort of get to know his character beforehand. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
before you even know he has a wife, you know, because at first he sort of comes off as like this arrogant kind of dickhead, you know, and
Well, he's also
regardless
just
of whether,
funny.
yeah, well, I mean, my first impression of him was like he's might be a little bit of an arrogant dickhead, but then like you sort of get to know him and he's like a funny dude, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
but you get to know him as a person before you get to know their backstory. And
Right,
that's,
right.
I feel like the whole point of the movie is you want to really get to know these characters before they possibly end up dying, you know? And when
Yeah.
they actually do die, it makes it that much more emotional,
Hmm.
you know, because you got to know that character through their own point of view, through their philosophies, through
Yeah.
their what they've experienced in life, you
That's
know?
a really good point. Maybe that would have ruined it if they just were like, here are all the
I think so.
backstories. Yeah.
I honestly think so,
Yeah,
you
because
know?
you're going in like this way, you're going into it with no judgment. You're like, well, let's just see how they conduct themselves on this walk. By the
Yeah.
way,
You want
this
to do the
was,
words?
well, before we get to that, I want to ask you about,
Yeah.
there's really just one setting for this movie, right? I mean, the setting is obviously a long road, but do you think that, like, this is a very minimalist approach to a movie, right? Because you said to me before the movie started, you're like, could you imagine if this whole thing's just walking? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be walking.
Well, I
Do you think
presumed
that they pulled it off?
I think they did because, like, at first when I made that joke, I was like, dude, if this is all walking, this is gonna suck, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But then you actually watch the movie and it is all walking,
It's all
and it's
walking.
actually not that bad. You
It's
know?
not.
I guess, dude, I was talking to my coworkers about this the other day. So, I mean, obviously, like if you're gonna write a good film, you have to
Mhm.
have a good story. But I think
Yeah.
more than anything, you have to have great acting, number one, and number
Mm.
two, the dynamic between the characters has to be
Yes.
like that. I To me, that's everything. To me, that's everything. The acting and the dynamic between the characters. Because
The- yeah.
because I feel like you could kind of get away with like a crappy storyline if as long as there's like a good dynamic between characters, there's great dialogue, and
I'm
there's
so
great
glad you
acting.
said that, because the dynamic between the two main characters, right? So Garrity and Pete, um,
Yeah.
I is an incredible relationship that they form over the course of like a couple days, and the character that plays Pete uh, is um, is super charismatic, like just
Oh,
super
throughout the entire
charismatic.
thing, like
Yeah.
unrealistically
Oh,
charismatic,
yeah.
dude.
Well, you said this to me. You were like, "This guy is not showing any signs of exhaustion. How is this possible after 300 miles?" And I
Yeah,
agree.
that was ridiculous, dude. I was like, that's one aspect of it that I didn't
He
like.
was
I
like
was like,
skipping
dude,
at one point. He's like flexing on his
yeah,
Like,
At least the guy Garrity, like the main character, like he experienced some like a little
yeah,
bit of like delusion, a little bit of like um sort of
yeah, he
just
broke at a few points.
outerness. I don't even know if
Yes,
that's a
like
word,
out of
you know?
bodiness. Yeah,
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 like out of bodiness. Yeah, yeah. So like there was some realistic portrayals to his character, but I feel like the other guy was like I don't know. Not that I didn't like his character, but
he
they
was
could have
on many
they could
steroids.
have yeah, they could have written his character a little bit better, I feel like.
Yeah, but for what
Yeah.
it was effective, I think. All right, let's do the three words. Kick it
Yeah, because we
off.
got like 5 minutes left.
Yeah, yeah.
So, let me see. My three words. I fucking wrote them down. Let me see. Um, all right. So my three words are number one, heartwarming, right? Because sort of
Did we
the
watch the same
ending.
movie?
Well,
All
yeah,
right,
dude. I
sorry.
mean,
I'll let
like
you
you
go.
you you s- you
My bad,
said
my bad.
like you even said like the dynamic between the characters was kind of like
It
hard,
was. No,
what
you're
like
right.
the friendships and all that stuff. Number t my number two word is intriguing, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
because every time you see someone kind of doze off, like what's gonna happen
Yeah.
you know and that kind of draws you in. Like I thought that at least I thought that that was intriguing,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna say number three is unique because
Mm.
I don't think, I mean, I don't I'm not an avid movie goer. Like
Hmm.
I'm more, I'll watch something on Netflix or whatever, but you see a lot of these Hollywood films these days, and a lot of it are sort of the same kind of storyline. Like the good guy
Yeah.
gets into a conflict, you
Yep.
know, he sort of, um, you know, there's like this big resolution where he
Hmm.
like solves his conflict, he gets the girl, whatever. Like this
Right.
was
Right.
not like that at all. It was just
No.
totally.
And also, this is sort of a spoiler, but whatever. Uh,
We spoiled the shit out of this anyway, so.
yeah, not so much. I don't think so. But
I was trying not to spoil
the
it.
ending in this film is different than the ending in the book, and that's something that a bunch of articles I read were saying. Like
I didn't read the book.
completely different. No, 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 no. I didn't read the book either. But the articles are saying that someone else wins in the book than does in the
Mm.
movie. So anyway, all right, my three words. One, this movie's exhausting. Okay. It's
Exhausting.
it's an hour and 50 minutes of walking, of injuries while walking, of, people like defecating in their pants.
Yeah, you kind
And
of get tired just
after
watching
a
them, pretty
while, it's
much.
just like, oh my, if it wasn't for that uphill scene where like a whole bunch of them got knocked out, the movie would still be going on right now. So exhausting. Second is minimalist because again, what's happening in the movie? It's walking. Okay. There's not a whole lot of elements, I think. It's a pretty
Yeah.
stripped down movie.
Wait, what was
Um,
the word you used? I was kind of drifting
minimalist.
off. Minimalist. Yeah. Oh,
Thanks for
that's.
drifting while I'm talking. And then the last one is hopeless. It's like, what's even the point of this? Even the winner has just lost their friends, and the world is still in this terrible state. It's like even if you
Yeah.
win, you lose.
Well, you
So
know what? Without giving it away, I
yeah,
feel like just like the other movie, Weapons, we did a review for.
yep,
Actually, Weapons wasn't really an ambiguous ending. I'm gonna say this was a very ambiguous
it
ending.
totally was.
Like it was like there was pretty much dude, because after the ending, I was just like, is there any more? You know what I mean? Like, is there something else that's gonna happen once the screen turned black?
No.
I thought there was gonna be some other resolution, but I'm like, that's it. I'm like, that's fucking crazy, you know?
Yeah. 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 Well, you wonder if
Yeah.
like, is this going to be a part two kind of thing? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Which I don't
Yeah.
think there will be. Do you out
Yeah.
of 10, what's the Matometer say out of 10?
Oh, I'm gonna say, I mean, you're gonna think this is kind of a poor judgment. I don't think it is. I'm gonna say like a 6.8.
Ooh,
That's not
okay.
really a poor judgment. That's like, I mean, it's not the
Not
best
great.
I've ever seen, obviously, but I would say it's a 6.8 because number one, because of the unrealistic element of it. I
Yeah,
just
that's
didn't really
fair.
like too
That's
much of
definitely
the
fair.
unrealistic element of it. And number two, I thought it was a good storyline. I thought that, there was great dynamic between the characters and everything,
Definitely.
which sort of made it go up in my rating,
Mm.
you know? But I think the whole sort of unrealistic element of it kind
Yeah.
of threw me off. I would have given it a much higher rating if it weren't for that.
Well, I'm gonna give it a solid 8. I think that the
What?
the bonds that were created throughout the movie, even in spite of such adversity and such brutality, I thought was awesome. Anyway, this is gonna end on
Hmm.
us. Close us out, Matt. Get us out of
All
here.
right. Yo, take it easy, guys. Stay tuned for another episode of Two Guys Doing a Show. Peace.
All right, later, guys.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.